This is the Pentax 6.7. It is, I think it's the largest SLR. Oh no, well, I guess anyway there are some obscure ones, but anyway, but the largest really it's the big SLR. It's the, you know, they refer to it as I think that some people refer to it as a Texas Leica, but it actually weighs as much as you think it does. It's solid everything, and I was never really a big fan of this camera. I don't really like 6.7 anyway, because I prefer the square format of 6x6. But a friend of mine gave it to me, and I managed to track down a 105mm lens for it. And so we've been shooting with it, and I'm liking it better than I used to. But it's a really quirky camera. The mirror has a real snap to it, so shooting at any kind of a slow speed without a tripod is dangerous, because the camera does tend to sort of buck a little bit. Although it's heavy enough so that it doesn't move around too much with the mirror snapping up. It also has this great wood handle, which I actually rather like, but the problem, of course, is that if you hang onto it with the handle, you need to have a hand for your shutter button and also a hand to focus. So the handle is great for carrying the camera, but it's not really great for shooting with. I'm not exactly sure what they had in mind when they did that. It actually is less useful than one might think. Hanging onto the camera is a real challenge as well, just because it's so darn heavy. But I'm starting to like it. It's growing on me. This one has a TTL meter, which is really pretty bare bones, but which actually works surprisingly well. Only 10 frames per roll is a bit of a challenge with the 120 film. I'm not in love with it yet, but it's actually kind of fun to shoot with. Given the opportunity, I would pick up a Hasselblad or the Mamiya 6 before I pick up this, mainly because of the compact factor of both of those cameras compared to this one. But it has been fun to shoot with, and certainly when you focus, things pop into frame, probably pop into focus, much nicer than they do on a Hasselblad. So you can actually see what you're focusing a lot easier with this, which where someone with eyes that are not as young as they used to be, it's a nice little addition. Yes, the 105 2.4 super multi-coated Takumar. It looks like it fell down some sort of a very rocky road. It's all kind of chipped up and stuff. Well, I shouldn't say chipped up. The optics are clear, but the focus, or not the filter, I can't imagine anybody will be able to get a filter on there. They're pretty messed up, those threads. But in the meantime, though, it's 105mm 2.4, which I think is equivalent to, a little bit longer than a normal lens, like a 55 or something like that. It's the only lens I have for it. And it does, there's a few sort of, it's funny, there's an auto and a manual switch that I don't quite understand exactly what the difference is. I keep it on auto just because that's where it is, and it seems to work okay. But I'm not sure exactly what that means. With the Pentax, the sync speed is 1/30th of a second. The older or the newer bodies had a mirror lockup, which was very helpful. This one does not. And yeah, it also chews through batteries too. So if you leave the meter on, turn it off, it blazes through batteries like it's going out of style. And they're the weird PX44 or whatever they're called batteries that you can only get nowhere, especially if you need one. So I have a few that I keep in the bottom of my bag. So that's pretty much it. It's a challenge to load, but with a bit of practice, it's not that hard. And it's a work in progress. What can I say? Yeah, we went out to the Fraser River in here, just out in a city called Richmond, just outside of Vancouver. And we just wandered around. And it's this great little corner that you never would imagine, you know, is there. It's you just come. You have to. It's actually a bit of a challenge to find. It's basically an old fishing village from the last century, and settled by Finnish people. I don't even know when, back 100+ years ago. And there's all kinds of great texture and lots of great stuff to take photographs of. So we spent some time wandering around and snapping away. The one camera, one lens. Yes, it's one of the things that I enjoy doing very much. Takes away all the challenges that you have with shooting, deciding which lens to use when you only have one lens. As we said in our other one camera, one lens video, I love the freedom that you have when you don't worry about what's going on. You just shoot because you can't make a change, so you don't. So it's it frees things up, and it never ceases to amaze me what I can get with just the one lens. Generally speaking, when I go out, I try it only to bring one camera, one lens. especially if I'm just going walkabout for photos. Yeah, it's a bit of a heavy weight, and it's God forbid you'd have more than one of these bodies, or God forbid you'd have even a whole bunch of lenses to go with it. Because I mean, this is a real beast. I mean, I gotta kind of wonder what they were thinking when they designed this camera, because I mean, it's a real tank. I mean, which is great because then it doesn't break when you drop it. But on the other hand, it also it's a real burden. And I think that anybody hiking up a mountain or doing something like that, I mean, people would carry this stuff with a body and 5 lenses and a whole bunch of film to all kinds of destinations. And I have to say that I tip my cap to them, because it's heavy. It's heavy, and it's hard work. Black and white film, T-Max 100, some Neopan Acros, and just thought we'd go with one kind of film, just to keep it easy. And I think as well, the vintage feel of the place really sort of lent itself well to black and white, so that's what we shot with. I'm just loving this. This is great. I mean, it's fantastic. Okay, so this is something that you see a lot of when you're out taking photographs, especially in cool neighborhoods, is that you're not the only one who thinks it's a cool neighborhood. And you'll regularly run into signs like this. I'm not so sure about the radioactive sign, but the one that says stop, or one that says private area. Please respect our privacy and do not pass through the gate. And it's really important, especially for our American friends, to make sure that you're not trespassing. First of all, because you can get arrested, and worse, sometimes people do not take kindly to photographers coming onto their property. So as much as I would love to walk down the embankment there, they've asked us not to, so we're going to go back, see what else we can get.